Let me know when you're ready to go.
It's going.
Okay, call this meeting to order at 6:30 on whatever the date is. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes that were furnished to you?
Yes.
2 sets.
Yep, I just have 2 typos.
Which set, Tammy?
Start with the planning minutes from December 8th.
The regular meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
The first sentence after all the motions to approve things, it says John True zoning inspector report. Nothing new been working on water and sewer. Is it has been working? Nothing new been working.
It probably should have been a semicolon or something like that.
Yeah.
Have been working.
Or it has been.
Have
Yeah.
it, right. So just that's the typo there.
And the second one?
On the special meeting minutes, I think Ellie's name's spelled wrong. I think it's E-L-L-I-E, not E-L-L-Y.
You're right.
Oh,
Yes, it
That's
is.
it.
Okay. On the December 8th meeting minutes, any other changes or corrections?
That's all.
Somebody make a motion to approve with the correction included?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, on the special planning meeting from December 16th, any other changes or corrections or discussion?
no. Motion to approve the special council or planning minutes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, all approved. Okay. We've got, you have the zoning inspector's report in front of you. Questions, comments on that? What, I guess I'll throw a question out on the fellow that's moving in next to Napa. Will there have to be some sort of an occupancy change on that?
I don't believe so. And it's going to be like a repair place still, but Mayor, did he say anything else? I've had not a lot of.
They came and,
Other than Benzinger applying for the permit.
yeah. Densinger came and picked up the sign permit to fill it out correctly. And I thought that maybe he would have to have a different occupancy permit because it's going from a powder coat company to a repair shop. Or is that one and the same?
Automobile.
I think the repair shop's what he was doing. The powder company he was not supposed to be doing there in the first place ever. He was
Right.
repairing trucks and lifting them and so forth.
Well, whenever we saw all
So I
those
think-
vehicles outside that were up on jacks, he was powder coating rims. So he was doing a powder coating
Did we have-
company.
Yeah. So he was doing it there.
Yes, he was doing powder.
I had no
coating.
proof or seen.
I know.
Yeah, and he was illegal. They doing it. I found no proof of that or didn't know.
Right.
Well, I will say that John Baker is my mechanic, so I'll just put that out there.
Okay.
Okay, well, I know that there's an issue with signage down there. If somebody wants to check into that, if we need to get some sort of a occupancy change, I don't know if that involves us or is that the county or who does?
No, we'll have to tell him to contact the county for an occupancy permit.
Okay.
And see if he needs a change of use. I mean, everybody needs an occupancy permit, but
Well,
I don't
and
know
I
if
guess
change
the
of
use
use falls
permit is
into
where I
that.
was going. I was being dense there for a second,
I know.
a second longer. Okay, and then on the Portage Park District on the west end, whose trail is that? I thought that was the county's already.
It's our trail. They lease it from us for $1 a year.
Ah, okay. Okay,
And under our planning, we have to have a site plan review and also conditional use is the only way you can have under industrial to have a trail of a public recreational. That's why they thought that they did not even need to have a engineering review. It's because it was an engineering firm was doing it for the parks. I said, no, we have our own planning commission. You're gonna have to bring it through our planning commission, the plans and so forth, and see what they say.
okay.
I did advise the engineering firm doing that.
Okay, so really you, other than that conversation, you haven't seen anything else from them?
No, when they submit it, they'll be submitted all you to take a look at, and then you can go from there.
Okay.
Gee, thanks.
Is that the hill to nowhere that they talked about a couple of years ago?
Yeah,
Okay.
they apparently have finishing up the engineering from what the engineering firm that called me. It's almost done and ready to submit to the parks and to you to see what else can be done.
Okay.
So they're looking just to extend right to the foot of the hill on Mennonite Road, just a couple 100 feet, right?
Yeah.
To extend, yeah, from Headwaters Trail all the way out to Mennonite Road.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not that far, but there's quite the grade. And it was 2 or 3 years ago, they were trying to get us to apply for a grant. Do it.
We did.
We're like, no, we're not paying for that. You know, so they must have got the money somehow. So,
DMRC helped pay the match on it. It's my understanding, and I have not seen the plan, so I'm just going by the phone calls that I've gotten. They're trying to change it so that they can head where you come up to the hill, that you would change and go towards Infirmary and come out where it's lower. But I don't know. I haven't
Well, yeah, there's
seen
a-
the final plans.
well, there's some new survey tape out there, and if that is an accurate line, I guess they'd have to run it and do all that work in the right of way. But I don't know that that's gonna be an option for them.
I don't
If
know. I
somebody's
know,
gonna put a driveway up there, I mean, there's been a lot of wood cut and cleared out of that little plot.
yeah, we'll have to look at it because they kept calling me and telling me that Matt Densinger, so was telling them he couldn't be on their property, couldn't be on his property. I didn't know he owned property out there. So we'll just have to wait and see what the
Okay.
plans say.
Okey doke. Does anybody else have any questions on the zoning inspector's report? Okay, then the next item on the agenda that is not on the agenda is you're supposed to appoint a chairperson or vote on a chairperson now.
I nominate John Clark.
I'll
I
second that.
second it.
How many seconds did we have there? That isn't fair.
Do several.
I'll third everyone. Unanimous.
Okay.
Oh, even Gene is.
Even Gene's gonna chime in on that one. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I'll go ahead and accept the nomination. Thanks again for that, Randy. Your day's coming.
Well, I had mine for a long time.
Okay, we already talked about the potential meeting change. We're just gonna hold off and see where everything flies once a new village administrator or whatever that person's title is gonna be, as to whether we do need to change tonight or however that's gonna work out. So we'll just move on to business on the Tom Van Auken property. I've talked to Tom. Right now, they don't have a current appraisal. He gave me a figure of $168,000, and I'm assuming, and I hate to do that, that's coming off the tax duplicate. How accurate that is. And the grant will only pay 75% of whatever that appraisal is. So at best, that's the most that he can expect to get for that, is that 75%, because I don't think the village is going to be willing to make up the 25%. Am I correct on that?
Correct. Well, my opinion is correct.
I believe the same.
Okay, so that's 2 of the 6, so I'm sure everybody else would climb on that. If council's even agreeable to going forward with this, I guess that ought to be a conversation also.
Right, right.
I've done some research, got some more paperwork off of it. I've reached out to Ryan Shackelford because government websites and I don't get along very well, and I can't find the application online anywhere. So I'm hoping he can send me a link so that I can see what's going to be involved in doing this thing.
Mhm.
But like I say, he hasn't gotten back to me. So that's as far as I've really gotten. I did ask Tom if he was aware of any potential problems with the fill that was used there. His impression is the same as mine, that it's probably going to be the exact same thing as what's under the old Napa store, under the body shop. And that could get into some issues, if that's going to become a brownfield. Times have changed a lot since all that stuff was thrown in there. And I see city of Akron water through town constantly now. So that in itself could become a real issue. I don't know what we do about that. So like I say, when I get the feedback from Ryan Shackelford, we'll discuss it a little bit further and see how far we want to go with this thing. And if you folks want it, Tammy or Scott, if you want to bring it up in council, just
Okay.
to get their feelings on this, are they interested in pursuing it? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a convoluted deal trying to do this. I don't know if it's called a grant application. I'll call it that for lack of a better word. I'd hate to put a ton of time into it and
Right.
then council says, no, we don't want it. So.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure that they're gonna say they want it. It's just, do we have the money to put towards it?
Well, and there again, that's another thing that I don't know, that how that works. If it works like the reimbursable grants, or if everybody waits until the grant's approved and you get there's, from what I'm seeing, this is not a short process. This could take up to several years to work through because it works locally, then it goes to state, and then it goes to federal. And when we all know how slow those wheels turn, so this could be 3, 4, 5 years down the road.
Right.
So that when we do come up with costs of various stuff, we're probably going to have a pretty neat pencil when we start figuring those things out and putting them on the.
Yeah, because once we see the grant application, what if it says, okay, they'll pay 75% of $160,000? That's just to buy the property. Then who has to pay to have the property, the building torn down? And then when we get into the brownfield issues, I mean, that could end up being a big potential for the village.
Well, the
I
way
don't
I'm
know.
reading
We're
that,
gonna have to see.
the
Right.
way I read that chart that we were going over the last time is that virtually all the expenses can be submitted on the application. Like we're gonna have to get an actual appraisal from somebody that knows what they're doing, because what the county says it's worth for real estate taxes versus what the real sale value of that are going to be two different things.
Mhm.
And then there's going to be costs incurred for the demolition, the hauling of the material, the disposal of the material. We don't know if there's asbestos inside there. There might be a little bit. I don't know that it's going to be a whole lot, but the way I read that chart is that anything included with this is going to be reimbursable up to 75%. Gene, have you ever done anything like this?
When you say, you talking about for like a grant or something like that, or you talking about like plans for a removal?
It's called an acquisition buyout program that's offered through FEMA.
I personally have not.
Okay.
Or probably I can ask in our office and see. I've got a couple people I know who do a lot of FEMA work, and I can see.
Okay. Okay, so that's all I can offer on that particular thing. And like I say, you know, as more information comes up, I'll throw it at everybody from meeting to meeting.
Okay, we'll bring it up at council just to kind of put out a feeler.
Okay,
I think I didn't I, Tammy? Not last month, the month before last. I
okay,
think
We
we
talked
just
about it.
briefly touched on it, but I was trying to explain to them what we were talking about, so, you
okay.
know.
But if we could add in a soil sample, test, and then know what it's gonna cost to take care, mitigate all that, and then put that on the grant, that's gonna go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Okay, so if you folks will handle that end of it and let me know, and like I say, I'll keep working on trying to come up with this application.
Okay,
And then, we're gonna have to decide if this thing is just way above my pay grade as far as being able to fill it out, is council gonna be willing to, well, we could ask CT to do it, and that would have to be included in the reimbursement part.
right.
So, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to her.
Okay.
Okay, are we gonna talk anything about rental fees tonight, and inspection fees tonight?
I think we need to continue advertising and maybe put it in the paper again, because Kim Yule was the chairperson for the Potato Festival, and she has stepped down from that because she has a full-time job, so she may not be interested in this. I have sent her a couple emails, just inviting her again, and have not heard back. So I will continue to try and reach out to her to see if she's even interested.
Okay.
Was it actually her that was interested in doing that, or was it her husband?
It was her and her husband both.
Her
I
and her
think.
husband as a team? Okay,
Right.
okay.
And I mean, we're not going to go into anybody's house right now anyhow with the COVID. So,
Right.
Okay.
Again, is that something we look at the new village administrator being part of the zoning, kind of add that into, if we're hiring somebody full-time and they only need to do so many per month?
Great. Well, but that, you mean as far as that, the village administrator being the inspector?
Correct.
Well, don't forget the council wanted a certified individual. And that would be fine if the council's willing to pay for the education, because the village administrator can go to classes and get a certification for it. I have no idea what the cost is, but again, that's something to keep in mind. Okay, old business. The last meeting we talked about sidewalks, that everybody's going to start paying attention. We need to have a list. The mayor forwarded a list that she had made some time ago. And
2016, so it's pretty old.
yeah, and it doesn't even scratch the surface, having been
No.
a walker on the sidewalks in town for several years. Some of the roads are safer to walk on than the sidewalks are. So we need to keep that in mind, because April's going to get here pretty quick if we're going to stay on schedule.
And I see some of these houses, I know off the top of my head, just glancing at it, have sold or people have died. So,
Well, and I can say I have one section that still needs replaced. I replaced one, but I have one more to replace.
Okay. Okay, Matt's Road Bridge. The agenda says the council has applied for the Ohio Municipal Bridge Funding.
and
There's
we've
probably
never
been,
heard from that. We should have heard back last year, and we've never heard anything, but everything's been so delayed.
is there somebody we can reach out to find out where it's at, or is there a website that we can look
Yeah,
at?
well, I can go back to the people that we had talked with before,
Okay,
or we can wait for the new village administrator to be in place and then they can handle it. Either or.
well,
say
I don't see it as such a pressing issue, so.
No, it's really not.
Yeah, Linda, I mean, my opinion is that we wait because I think that's something that's going to be an ongoing issue. So I think whoever is in that position needs to take it from the beginning and then take it to the end instead of having you try and step in right now to pass it off later. Why don't we just
Yeah.
wait? Let's just wait until we have somebody in place. All right.
Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
just put that as tabled for now until,
Well, I mean, if everybody agrees, I don't want to, I mean, Wes,
Well-
what's your feeling?
I've got enough on my plate till council approves for me to even advertise for a village administrator. So
Right.
as of Friday, I'm gonna be wearing 2 extra hats temporarily and we're still trying to straighten out the water and sewer stuff. There's a lot of little things that we weren't thinking about that we've been having to deal with as far as making sure that the county got all the addresses for the correct
Right.
facilities for the electric bills and the gas bills and even though we sent the letters out, we've still been getting a boatload of mail from people still paying us their water bills. And Mary Ann's gonna have to start sending those back. And so it's just been a little crazy.
anybody else have anything they want to cover under old business?
Mr. Clark, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Well, and I apologize because you probably already discussed this, but it was about the sidewalk. When you guys are, is that a matter of going through and saying, okay, like this house or this house has a busted up sidewalk or it's broken or missing, and then you inform the resident that they need to replace it? Or is it something that you're kind of aggregating together? I guess where I'm going with that is if one person does their, like calls a contractor to replace a piece of sidewalk, it might cost, I don't know, $1,000 because the guy's got to mobilize and everything. Whereas if you were to kind of like get 5, 10, 30 homeowners together, like if they were doing it together, they could get one contractor to come out and do bits and pieces. Kind of like, I think, John, didn't you do something like that in Aurora?
That's what I recommended they do here. Get one contractor, see how many square feet, linear feet of sidewalk they have, and then have somebody bid on it, bid on the prices and get the cheapest contractor. Do it that way.
And then you split that
They can do
cost.
bids, quotes, however they would like to do it. Pardon?
And then the
Like you
cost
said,
was, sorry.
Well, I
The
mean, that
cost
would
is
be tough to
the
do because
homeowner.
there's not one section in town where there's just one slab and then you go 4 or 5 more houses. And then there's another section. Most of the things are, a couple 100 feet long where there's issues constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still cheaper than, like, again, having one contractor come out, like, again, I call contractor for mine, and then, somebody else calls contractor for theirs, and, somebody's gonna come out and set the forms, and then a concrete truck comes out to do like 1 or 2 little stairs, whereas even if there were 400, like, let's say 400 feet or 1,000 feet, or like one per block, it would still be for the residents collectively, and I'm not saying the whole village, but maybe you pick like 3 streets and you say, okay, hey, everybody, we're gonna bid this. And again, I don't know how that would work out, but it would definitely be a cost I would see.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a cost savings, but you're going to find the aggravation in getting the people to go along and getting them to accept that they need their sidewalk repaired. You just can't go ahead and do it without their permission. Remember, it's their responsibility, and who's going to pay for it if you do. So that's the most difficult part of the program that I ran through when I was in Aurora. We could get the contractor and everything else, but we probably had $110,000 for the sidewalk. Only $30,000 would get done because the homeowners just don't have the money, and especially these times, it's going to be difficult. How you choose to move forward on that, making them do it and going through the ropes.
Well, maybe the thing to do, and I agree with both Gene and John that, that would be the ideal way to do it. Maybe, we'll compile our list, figure out exactly how much we have to go. Maybe there's grants out there that we could do a village-wide thing and kind of a one-time fix it.
Or and John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm trying to think of years ago, wasn't there something, maybe it was for the septic tank cleaning or something, but it was kind of the idea of saying, hey, sidewalks, you say, like you set something out citywide, for example, in your case, you village line, you say, hey, if you want to get your sidewalk fixed, again, we're not talking about like, hey, your driveway and everything else. You say your sidewalk's broken, you need to get it fixed, and you want to get in on this village-wide within this area. You put it out to those residents so that they come back to you. So, like you said, you got 100 residents, 100 houses that you know need fixed. Maybe 20 of them come back and say, "I'm definitely in." And then therefore, those are the people who are going to pay for it. And I mean, yeah, you still got the other 80 that don't, and then you can cross that bridge again down the road and keep kind of whittling it down. But at least the people who want to get it done, like if it was my sidewalk and I'm like, yeah, I got, I don't know, $200, 500, whatever that my portion would be, I'd be willing to do that. Maybe my neighbor says I don't have the money or I don't want to do it, and they say no, but I say yes. Again, at least it would knock out some of your sidewalks, getting them repaired sooner than later.
Okay.
I know you used to be able to apply through AMATs for sidewalks, but that's come off the list.
Hmm.
But we can do some research and see
Okay.
something out there.
Okay. Any other discussion on that?
No, I'll try and update this list. I'll get Mary Ann and we can take a tour of the streets and she can write down addresses and stuff as we go. And maybe keep it in a centralized area, east side of town, west side of town, whatever.
Yeah.
Did you send out notes regarding addresses on homes then? Or will you do that when you go through town?
We'll get addresses when we drive around.
Yeah, and then notify them they got to put an address on their house?
Yeah, remember yeah.
Yeah, from the last meeting with John and Tia, we're walking around when nobody's got addresses or visible addresses. Maybe we can get
Yeah,
Mr.
I've talked to Marianne about that, about the alert.
So Mary Ann, when you type this up, let's come up with a list of all the houses so we can send letters to tell them they need to put their addresses on the house.
Thanks, Marion.
Thanks, Mary Ann.
That's what happens when you don't show up at a meeting. You get volunteered for all kinds of stuff.
I call it voluntold.
Well, some people didn't think she would be busy not having to do water and sewer. I mean, she's still handling that, but she's tackling a lot of other stuff this past week, so.
Good.
Good. Okay, and there's no new business on the agenda. Does anybody have new business?
The only thing I have a maintenance issue that I got an email about the other day. And that was from Stephanie Martin up on West Prospect Street. We just took Scott Angle off of here. She's complaining. There's two cars that look like they've been parked there forever. A motorcycle that looks like it's half down. Today there was a Hertz truck backed into the park driveway. So we'll probably have to, I guess I'll have to send a letter to Scott Angle to tell me he needs to tidy up his yard.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
At this
Yeah.
point, you should have a form letter that you can send out to him.
Well, we were hoping that that guy was going to buy the property, and that may still be happening. Who knows?
Well, we were hoping that the Penske truck in the driveway was him moving out, but I think it was him moving more crap in, so. I
Great.
don't know. Yeah. My 6-year-old granddaughter calls that Dampaw's haunted house. Dampaw, is that haunted house still on your road? Yeah, there's still a haunted house on our road.
Maybe you can perform an exorcism or something.
And John, did we get a sign application for the new Circle K? whatever, the Manaway Market.
We have the application. We are still waiting for them to get back with us because originally, when we spoke with Mr. Patel, he was planning on he's using the same framework for the signs, and he was going to internally light them. And we explained to him why we would prefer that he didn't. And so he has agreed not to internally light them, but he's trying to come up with a way to downlight them, how they will, what will be shining on them, if
Perfect.
that makes. And so that was the conversation I had with his office today.
Oh, that's awesome. Good,
We're still holding the check.
Thank you.
good.
Mayor, speaking of signs, did Dollar General ever submit you a sign application?
Not yet. She wants to have a meeting with us. We finally got the final reapproved plans. I had them send us one full-size set, so we have that in the office. So if anybody needs to look at it, we have that. They still want to set up we have set up the meeting to discuss with them and the county whether they will just give us an easement for that sanitary or if they want it moved and what that's gonna create. But seeing as it's out of the way now that they moved the building, I'm
Mhm.
hoping that they'll lean towards an easement just to make things easier for everybody. But no,
It's
that's it.
amazing.
And then I have to go visit where Dee's Clip Joint was, down by Mama Lights.
Mhm.
Apparently somebody, a beautician is moving in there and they've been doing some remodeling, so Mary Ann's compiling me some paperwork to drop off down there, let them know they have to apply for a sign permit. They'll have to have a new occupancy permit because it looked like the person that was doing the remodeling was doing some plumbing and different things, so that's probably gonna require the health department to come in for that kind of a license, I would think. Or at least the building department. I don't know how all that stuff works, but. So we'll see.
Okay.
And I see that Jansen Brothers are putting up some fairly attractive siding on their building that's gonna make that look a little better.
Yeah, they're just about done with that.
Be interesting to see what kind of signage they put back up. If they're just putting back up what they took down, then there's nothing we can do about that, but we'll see what they have in the works. I mean, they didn't change anything, so they didn't need a permit to put the siding on, so.
Okay, anything else from anybody on new business? Any questions regarding zoning or maintenance issues?
I wanted, I have some questions and I could have asked Michelle or John when I saw them separately, but, okay. Chris Matthews on First Street, we still have not heard back from him, correct, John? And we sent him a letter. He's the one with the open basement.
All of the stuff down here has not changed since nothing has changed since last month on this list.
Okay, so I can have Michelle send him a
No
letter
communication with the
at
county
this
or
point.
them. Nothing's changed.
And also, that Brent Mirnovic, we sent him a letter and he still hasn't responded to the best of my knowledge. He's in the old doctor's office that made the
He was
doctor's
talking to
office.
the county, but
On Minerovic,
yeah, he was talking to the county, but I've heard nothing from the county.
but on Minerovic, we talked about this last month, and John, you said that he'd done everything he needed to do with his village permits. Is that not correct? Because I went back and listened to the tape today to see, and that's what we talked about last month.
Yes, as far as I knew, but I didn't have any confirmation.
I mean, our permits, our village
And
permits.
that's why I was left on there. I don't have any paper confirmation. Oh, hey, yeah, we're done everything, our village permit. Correct.
Okay, but we have no enforcement
Between
powers
him
for
and the county.
county permits, so I'm not sure where we would go with this.
Oh, all right.
No, I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
okey dokey. I guess that can come off the list then if he's complied with everything he had to with the village and if he didn't get an occupancy permit from the county. I mean, I think he should still have to get that and a change of use, but that's, I'll give Mr. Roberts a call and see what he says on that.
I'll write Matthews a letter threatening to file a complaint with court on him if he doesn't. So his basement is still wide open the way it was?
It looks like he's been piling dirt up there, but you can't see, but I haven't ever seen anybody down there working to be putting block in or anything, but I guess it'll be a case of pulling in the driveway and having to walk over there and see.
Okay, because that was a exterior maintenance issue essentially with the dangerous open basement.
Mhm.
Right now, there's kind of like a mound of dirt that you can't see if it's open or not.
Well, the last time I saw it, he had at least put a blue tarp on it. I mean, that's not much of a foundation, but it did kind of cover the hole up a little bit. But I don't know if that's good or bad because then kids could sneak in behind the tarp and you don't know they're in there. So
Well, I mean, worst case, Michelle sends him a letter and he comes back and says, no, I did it. It's fixed, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
that's worst case.
Yep, I'll do that.
Okay.
okay. Okay, does anybody have anything else for this evening? Okay,
I don't have anything. Motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good morning.
Good night.
Good night.
Night, Jean.